Chapter 4. Crestview, Florida was only about 30 minutes from the beautiful beaches of Fort Walton and Destin, Florida. I would often go there to play beach volleyball and hang out at the bars. Of course, there was always time to think about females during the day and night, especially night. Meeting girls at the beach was easy, and I got to know many different ones. One night, I went to a bar on the Pensacola beach with a friend of mine that worked at Enterprise. Everyone that worked at Enterprise drank alcohol, and it was highly encouraged in the company. As I was standing there hanging out with him and some other Enterprise employees, this guy approaches me and proceeds to tell me that his friend at the bar really wants to meet me. He said that he was leaving for the night and that she had asked him to come ask me if I would be willing to keep her company. After looking up at the bar and seeing her, I quickly agreed and headed up to meet her. We started talking and really hit it off. We spent the whole night walking on the beach getting to know each other. I guess I lost track of time because by the time I got back to the bar, my friend had left me and I had no ride home. She kindly offers to give me a ride, and we got to know each other even more during the hour drive back to my friend's apartment. I got my first kiss that night. After she had let me stand on her shoulders to scale the balcony and get into my friend's apartment, he had locked the front door. Before leaving, she asked me what I was doing the next day, and I told her that I was going to be playing in a volleyball tournament at the beach in Destin. She asked if she could come watch, and of course I said yes. I saw her again the next day, and the day after that. Soon after, we are a couple and are officially dating. Within 6 months, I had asked her to marry me. She lived in Milton, Florida with her parents. We had sort of a rough start in the beginning of our relationship. I think it mainly had to do with my insecurities after finding out about her experience with other guys, or rather the amount of experience she had with other guys. I had once asked her, and she admitted to me that she had lost count after 30. She even admitted that some of them had been very large on certain parts of their body. On top of that, she had told me that she was once a stripper. Even though those were some of the worst things you can tell your new boyfriend, I guess I just gave her credit for being honest because I stayed with her. We often fought and argued about things, and my trust for her around other men was pretty much non-existent. I can easily look back and see all the red flags, but I guess I was blinded by something. Her dad was an airline pilot, so he made good money. He also, quote, gambled in the stock market on his computer. He tried his best to explain all that stock market crap to me, but it would go in one ear and out the other. He had cheated on his wife a few times, but their marriage survived. They went to a very large Baptist church in Pensacola most Sundays, and I would often go with them on the weekends I was there. It was a massive church. You felt very small and insignificant as you walked in it. The sanctuary had 2 floors with a balcony upstairs and a huge stage up front. There seemed to be well over 1,000 people there. The preacher came out and was dressed in a fine suit. He looked like a professor in college or something. I mean, he looked important. He looked like someone that would be very wise and be able to speak intelligently. And when he spoke, he did in fact sound like someone that was well educated. He was intimidating, as if he was superior to me. Needless to say, I never went to the front of that church. I already had the girl, so there was no need to impress her at this point. Now that I think about it, I'm not even sure that they even offered that there. I think that was one of those churches where you can just sit in your seat and silently repeat after the preacher and be saved. Things continued to progress with Enterprise during this time in my life. I had been the manager at the Crestview branch for about 6 months now and was making a name for myself there. I had noticed on the company website that there was an opening for a manager at the rental store in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. It was the biggest store in that area, and the current manager of that store was advancing to be the area manager. This was my chance. So far, I had been moving up the ladder and advancing about every 6 months. If I could get this manager position in Hattiesburg, I could possibly be an area manager within the next 6 months and be well on my way to making $100,000 per year. I put in my notice of interest and I got an interview. I drove to Hattiesburg to meet him and I sold myself. I had learned to be a very good salesman while I was with Enterprise. They spent a lot of time and money training their managers, and I absorbed every bit of it. One of the things I had told him during my interview was that if he chose anyone other than me, he would be making a huge, costly mistake. That he owed it to himself and his company to make the right choice. Out of all the other managers that had applied, he decided to give me the opportunity. My soon-to-be wife wasn't quite as excited as I was about my new job. I was now going to be about 4 hours away from her. I had never been in a long-distance relationship before. It took a little bit of getting used to, especially when I started having to drive back and forth on the weekends to see her. It wasn't long before I started to dread them. Thankfully, something was about to be introduced to me, something that would make those drives a lot more entertaining.